we never know what genre or what kind of life we are living when we are in the sin. And it's the kind of topic that it kind of relates to the kind of topic that I brought up before about agency, the real attention, the highest quality of attention is feeling like you are in control and in agency of doing this, and not just the goal isn't just the act itself, but disappearing into action. So when you are in some kind of like romantic movie, kind of like plot, your life is actually like, if you write it down and you tell an author, like no, none of other people would believe that actually happened in your life, but you wouldn't notice when you are in the action of doing it. And I find this very interesting and fascinating because it's like you will never be able to be self-aware, even when you are trying your best to be like best to know what to do next, and like trying to figure out what will be the better outcome and like that you can make. And this got me I got to this kind of conclusion, not conclusion, but like this thinking from thinking about when in my junior high, high school time, uh, when I was fully like immersed into self hatred and kind of looks maxing. Back then, there wasn't some kind of a thing as looks maxing. I was just so obsessed with my facial features, my nose, and like I literally made a some kind of thing, but I put it on my nose so that my nose balls get smaller. I made it by myself using the kind of Lego bricks that I made, and like attached some kind of band so that it doesn't hurt my skin. I did that before school every single morning, and I didn't realize it was a little bit very weird and very self insecure kind of act. And I mean, that period of my life was when I used to indulge League of Legends and lots of. I just used other things as an escaping tool rather than actually trying to be good at it. So like there was also a huge difference between trying to be actually good at something and like just having it as like doing it as a hobby and using it as an escaping tool from something that you are feared of. Like you don't want to just tackle it, or you just want to avoid it, so you just disregard it as something insignificant, and you just try to get some validations from other thing, but actually you're just escaping it, escaping from the kind of reality or things that you must be following. So and it's like, so also goes for when two lovers, when you're deeply in love with someone. I think that's when like most of people I get lost inside the sin. Like they lose themselves and they don't even know what they're doing until it ends. And after like a couple of weeks, months, it depends, and it depends on how long you've been chasing that person. But like you've been in that kind of duration, like really toxic relationship, or um yeah, really toxic relationship. So like a couple of months later, you just talk with your dude, like buddy, and you go like, that was so dumb, like I was so dumb, I don't know why it happened. Like obviously the biology and like our brain kind of psyche things has to do with this behind the scenes. But what I'm trying to say is I think it's really difficult to be aware of exactly where you are at the moment, when you are trying to do something, when you are in the action of doing something. Even right now, I might keep on. Okay, I'm gonna just be honest. I might be just rebranding myself, my self insecurities, and myself, my own problems into something like adding some clothings, just like how we call love like romantic loves. But actually it's not love. It's at the end, you just love we just love the feeling that we get, from the person that. And it's not the kind, like we don't love that person. It's just we love the feeling, and once they don't produce the kind of feelings that we value, and we lose the feeling, and we just think that that person changed, and so on and on. So I'm like, is it even possible to like looking at yourself objectively as if you are looking at your past self, like as if you're looking at your past self, because that's when you are out of the kind of zone, and you are much less with like emotion, and kind of like detached in the first place, because you're not that person anymore. Like you can just say that I changed because time has passed and I'm not that kind of person anymore, or like that was okay, like the environment and the situation was kind of bad, so I make like those kind of mistakes. You can kind of like make up those kind of arguments and excuses inside your head, but when you're in that position, it's really hard to like look at yourself like objectively. And it got me thinking, like, is it even possible, for someone to genuinely be objective to themselves? And I think it's impossible, because we are looking at ourselves always subjective. I mean, even if you write every problems that you have right now, and like things that you do, and you just look at it like a day later, because it's what I do when I feel like I'm lost. I just write down everything I did, like every single thing I did, as like detailed as possible. So it takes sometimes even like 30 minutes. You might think it's not that much, but trying to actually tackle your own problems and spending that much of time, like it's painful, kind of. It's very painful at that moment. And the reason why I don't read it right after is because I still have those kind of like emotions. Like I want to like explain it. I want to explain myself that, oh, that was just because like blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So that's why like I want to like read it at least a day after, like 24 hours later. I read it and genuinely see like, okay, these are wrong, and you shouldn't be doing that. You know it so well, so let's just try to work on like one at a time, so on and on. So like saying goes for when people are uh escaping or trying to avoid some kind of things that they would not like to tackle. I don't know like any better ways than actually putting yourself out to public, or just like talking about your problems to your like any close your friends, any friends, or your family members who can listen to you, just like just and listen to their opinions. I mean their yeah, opinions about what you're going through objectively. And it's just help it kind of like hits you with with a hammer, because the moment you try to put it out without just keep on overthinking and trying to justify the actions, the kind of mistakes that you always make to yourself, the moment you try to say it out loud to another person, you exactly the exact moment when you change the words that you use, you wouldn't have said the kind of words in like to yourself. But now that you have to talk to this person, you kind of change it, and you know it, like you just feel it the exact moment. You can't lie to yourself, and you just know it. You could say that it's not like I didn't feel anything, but like you yourself, you know it. So that's when you kind of see like where the contradictions lie, and things like what are the one of the um biggest problems that I'm having with this problem. So at the end, I think especially the act of trying to just putting out problems between friends, even when you're not actually friend, like you just like look, how do I say, like it just uh just talk with a stranger, let's say. I try to use this idiom, not an idiom, like a phrasal verb. Walk up, yeah, you just walk up to a stranger in a bar, or anywhere, and you just start talking about it. And it's actually not like the goal isn't to actually solve the problem. You're never gonna solve by talking. You're you're actually just trying to articulate and try to see, like, listen to what you say about the problems that you are having and dealing with. So in that process, you kind of know, like, so these are somewhat like you can kind of like visualize it and you can say it out loud. So these are the problems, and I can maybe work on them in this kind of ways, and you can like try to work on them like one at a time. So yeah, it's hard when there are no one around you and you're the only one who you can rely on. So it's also the thing I've been kind of doing to myself, maybe not out of my will, um, but I've been isolating myself, as you guys could clearly tell. It's addicting. I mean, it's a whole another topic about what I was talking about in general, but monk mode, isolating, like absolute solitude kind of things. Like it sounds good, and it actually the problem with isolating is it benefits you. Like it serves you good. It makes you think like not others, and it genuinely like teaches how you should deal with yourselves, and it makes your life much more routinized, and you try to you kind of have this kind of strong identity and ego as well by actually improving yourself. Like if you just I'm not just talking about I'm not talking about those kind of isolations you just go through while not trying to do something that you should do, and you just like play video games every single day or kind of subs. I'm talking about the actual monk mode, actual isolation to improve yourself. And I think that's the strongest point, and also it's the reason why it's dangerous, because it's very addicting, and you can't kind of escape it once you see yourself, and you kind of feel this superiority over others. Like, I don't go outside, I don't socialize, I don't have friends, I don't need friends, kind of thing. Like, uh I would rather spend my precious time on dealing with my problems and improving myself rather than having a bunch of fake friends. You can make so many arguments like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't like I always sleep at the exact same hour. I eat well. I spend the least amount of money. Like you those kind of things, like you can see it as virtue. Like surely, objectively, they are like, yeah, you are such a wonderful person, like amazing dude, cool. But like, if you have the kind of way of being, you feel like you're being better than anyone, like better than others, not just like in ways like, like I put more effort to myself, so therefore in that way I'm better. Yeah, you're right. But like actually like spiritually, or like believing like these are NPCs, like these dudes cannot think. That's where it gets kind of that's when I think isolation will not be an option for that person, because it will be very less likely to make a genuine human relationship or social interactions with others once you develop that kind of mindset. And it kind of pushes others as well, like they can genuinely feel you, even though you might think that you are not kind of showing it up, like you're just acting fine, like I'm acting like a normal person, but actually like the just like how like if murderers, like we all can say, like we like people in the especially on the internet or people in real life, like I'm gonna fucking kill you, like kind of thing, like kind of like this kind of insults as insults, like people can say it, but people who actually do it, like actually do it by actions, have very strong kind of their sense of like how they perceive world, and their philosophy and the way they think is a lot much a lot different than other like normal people. So you can fake some like wearing some masks, but when it comes to beliefs and your philosophy, it's like they can sense it when it's off. Because I think that's also fundamentally in, related to our human instinct, like trying to identify, like trying to see through this mask, if whether this person's trying to kind of like use you, manipulate you, but not in the sense like how society works, because they are all a lot similar to them, and they are very much more cunning. And y- I kind of mumbo jumbo. Like I'm not making sense. I know it, but what I'm trying to say is it's harder to hide and fake, pretend while having the kind of beliefs that society don't value. Society doesn't like. Most of people wouldn't like, and we can kind of sense it, and it's our human natural instinct to sense the kind of difference. Yeah. So again, back to the main topic. Though those people who are dealing with the actual kind of like zero to hero kind of arc, like they literally had nothing, but like they're slowly progressing like step by step. You look at it as a third person, it genuinely sounds and it looks like a very heroic and virtuous and like lofty man, like who should be respectable and like all the good stuffs. But like inside his heart, like in his perspective, he's literally just dying. Like he's just constantly grinding, like do this, do that. Like I also have kids, so like I, you know the kind of narratives that we get a lot when we try to read some um novels about like young fathers, the kind of how do we say, like characters who go through such a very difficult tasks, and they gotta like tackle everything alone while not speaking to others. And because like none of others, like you can't really like relate to those kind of problems, because it's kind of too niche, and it gets harder to relate to other people since you have very niche problem. So what I'm trying to say is like like, from the first perspective, it they are dying and they are just trying to survive, like just trying to survive and like trying to make things right. But from like if you see it as third perspective, a third person perspective, it looks much more different. And that's when I realized you can't. It's I think you can't be self-aware, even though I myself think that I'm very aware of myself. Like this is the moment of my like this is the kind of um yeah, but the moment of my life when I'm the most aware of myself. But I'll never know, and my future self is gonna. I don't know what my future self is talking and thinking about this period of my life. So it's very interesting to give it a thought, and I wanted to talk about it.